Ready, set?
We're now live on Channel 8 and YouTube, and you're free to start your meeting.
Okay. That being with the pledge, everyone standing. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First line of business is to reorganize the board. Anybody chooses to, do we have is somebody playing election?
Bruce Marion ran and was elected, so he is still on the planning board.
Okay, all right.
So you have a full board.
Anybody want a motion? Do you have anybody else coming tonight? They chimed in.
Charlie was working on it. I haven't heard back from him, and I emailed Michael and Bruce and didn't hear back.
All right, we'll put that on the end of the meeting. I'll let you do it. Full board.
Okay.
These guys want to do the minutes? Last meeting. It's May 10th.
When you finish with you, I'll make a motion that will accept the minutes as written. So
All right, motion made and seconded to accept the minutes from 5/10/22. Any discussion on? All seeing none, all in favor? All right, okay. Next on the agenda, request WJ Graves Construction Company for a site plan review for proposed commercial building with truck scales located at map 5-09 parcel 35.
Chris Stoddard, the engineer for
Yeah.
WJ Graves, is here, so.
Okay, Mr. Stoddard, if you want to do your presentation? Do you have an easel by any chance? Do we have one here?
I can have, we can kind of hold it.
What's up?
If he can hold it, I can kind of talk through it.
Want to do all this so everybody can see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's on the human easel. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Chris Stoddard Engineering. I don't know. So
So
this
if
is
you
a project.
Jim, if you want to sit down, that's fine.
So, yeah, so this is a project to do a new 2,400 square foot building with attached scales on both sides of the building. It will have its own dedicated septic system and water service, municipal water service coming off of Otter River Road. So for everybody, orientation north is straight up, south, east to west.
The perfect plan. They don't always go that way.
No, they don't. I try to make them sound simple, right? So this is kind of a blown out existing condition of the project. We tried to highlight, show all the properties, direct abutters on Otter River Road. This, there's two existing gravel entryways, one off of Depot Road and one off of the intersection. Existing tree line here, and this is basically just the outskirts of the existing gravel pit. We did do some soil testing in here for the septic system. Lori was there present for that testing. It's more of a zoomed in version of that same slide. Water service comes in off of Otter River Road here. There's an existing hydrant. There's no water service on Depot Road. So the proposal here is to utilize Depot Road for entry and exit of the vehicles. So most of the vehicles come, I guess it would be northwest down Depot Road. They would enter the facility here, pull onto the ramps on the scale, do their thing, go up into the pit, utilizing all the existing access roads that are currently there now, get loaded up, come back out, get on the scale, pay whatever they do there, and then exit the same side of, the same out onto Depot Road. The proposal is we have to cut the grading back along this edge. There's a large bank of existing sand that's there. So that has to be moved. The stormwater basin is proposed to be along the eastern side. And there's an existing swale, there's an existing road that runs down along, it goes up to the crusher area. And there's an existing, what I'll call kettle hole. It has a swale in there now. Our proposal is to kind of clean that out, utilize that better, because right now the water will tend to run down and run out that existing driveway. Obviously, we want to eliminate that. So the building itself, we're proposing to have gravel drip strips for both eaves, so the water will infiltrate on site. And the overflow from those, which there is actually proposed to be none due to the quality of the soils there, would come out around the backside of the septic system and into an additional grass settling area, which there's no increase in runoff on the site due to that. And then all the rest of the runoff will go into this larger infiltration basin that we size that no water leaves that side of the site there. Existing pavement, so we've done our stormwater calcs. Also assume that we're going to be paving this whole area, so we've put those all into the calculations as well. Oh, water. So the water service comes in. There's kind of a what I'll call a little access driveway, an area where there's no trees over here. So we're proposing to come through that area out onto Otter River Road to make our water connection. There's no proposed trees being cut in that area there. We run up obviously onto the site and tie in the water service into the building. The septic system is just down gradient of the building, tank out in the front there, comes across into the existing or into the proposed septic system. We have provided parking for all the staff with ADA compliant van spacing, van space. We are proposing a little bit of clearing again around that kettle hole, but overall you can see the existing tree line here. We're not proposing any additional cutting along Otter River Road. There's a little green, I guess, a tree area right along Depot Road. We're proposing that's going to stay there as well. And then there's no additional cutting from what you've seen along Depot Road that way. So, landscaping plan. So basically anything that's out there, we're proposing all grass to replant this whole area over here. That's now currently actually sand. Septic system that has to be loamed and seeded over. So we're proposing to loam and seed over that, as well as the remainder of that grassed area there. And then grassing this slope here, just obviously to stabilize that, to keep from eroding away. Like I said, we're going to maintain that tree area there and the tree areas along this area. Then we provided, so obviously, because we are kind of on a curve, what we've done is we wanted to make sure that we had the sight lines. So what we did, we took Mass DOT's sightline calculations, and it was 385 feet in each direction. We have clear sight lines. So any vehicles exiting this way can see, actually they can see all the way past the intersection, because the intersection will be turning right there. And then any vehicle turning this way, you can see the full 385 feet to be able to navigate to the left safely. Yeah, series of details, water connections, drain lines, pavement details, ADA compliant parking signs. And then the last sheet is just the septic approved.
The septic is approved, yeah.
And then the improved septic plan we've attached as well. And that's what we got. So I can answer any questions that anybody has.
Does the stormwater management basin, does that have an overflow on it? Is that plumbed in? Is that just leach in?
No, so both basins, this basin can take over 100-year storm.
Okay.
So we didn't have any overflow there. This one will take, we've calculated for 100-year storm. There's a little bit of runoff. It's greatly reduced. And then so the plan is it just would migrate the way, currently right now, all the water comes down and runs out this way anyways. So anything that doesn't infiltrate would still continue the same flow path. But we've been able to reduce it from 2.75 cubic feet per second down to 1.3. So we basically cut the flow in half. So,
I mean, if there's any issue with those later on, you could always make them bigger.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the testing, we dug 12 feet deep and there's no water, so we could actually make those deeper if we needed to. We
Yeah.
tried to keep it shallow just so they could mow it more efficiently, but we could definitely drop those couple feet.
I get the sight lines, which is good. But the trees left in the front, is that, the car coming around the corner, say, come over the bridge and heading towards like Jim's operation now?
Yeah.
Those? Is the car gonna be able to see anything but the nose of a truck coming out of there? Are they gonna be able to see like the whole truck sitting at the street ready to take off?
Yeah, so they should be able, so the way, because,
It's one thing to the driver to see the
Yeah,
cars coming, it's
100%.
only the cars see the drivers coming.
yeah, no, so if we draw a straight line from there, you're actually gonna see the nose of the truck will be up here. So, yeah. They'll be able to see approximately 30 feet of the vehicle. So pretty much move the entire triaxle,
The tractor, yeah.
most of the tractor.
Yeah, I drove by there yesterday, so like that strip of trees up front gonna stay, so you're proposing that to stay. You think it'd be advantageous to lose it and put a lower growth, vegetation in it?
Yeah.
I'm just worried about somebody coming around, because they're not, your truck is looking for cars, because they get pulled out, but the other way around, just kind of concerned.
Yeah, but if you want to go lower, we could.
Yeah, we
Sure.
could put some low growth shrubs in.
Yeah, it just make it look a lot better, but also too, I'm just worried about, in the winter time, the trees are so grabbing them, pulling them down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just makes it harder to see.
Mhm.
Just a suggestion, maybe else want to chime in on that?
What about signage?
Like out on the road.
Alerting people to,
We didn't have any proposed, but we, absolutely, I think there's some existing currently out there truck entering, so not for up at the upper part. But we could definitely add some rows, up in this area here and go down around the corner there.
and then down around the corner, we have a town well, is that correct? How far away from that?
We're outside 200 feet from everything, which would be town well would actually only be 100 per septic. So we're well outside of any jurisdiction for the septic. We're outside 200, well outside 200 feet from Otter River or any other additional wetland.
I'm gonna ask them, right, Heather? Yeah, just
You
say
were
your name,
talking about the traffic.
just say your name for the record, okay?
Mary Lang,
Okay.
I saw one of your gray cement trucks come up today. They came up Depot Road and had to slam on his brakes because there was a truck coming out at that exit,
That's the one we're talking about
at
right
the
now.
top exit, yeah.
Yeah, this one right
So
here.
I don't know, the one you're proposing is an exit.
Okay. I think that's kind of reiterating to what I'm saying, it's starting to be a little better visibility, that's all. I'm sure it was the trees that were affecting his visibility.
I really don't know, but I could,
Can't imagine him driving up
I
paying
saw
attention.
him. Slam his brakes on.
Like his brother.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any concerns or? So just state your name for the record.
Yeah, Barry Jansen's. I live on Otter River Road, been there for 23 years. I have a bunch of concerns. I got a concern about the dust. Right now, the dust is pretty bad without even the traffic going in there. They still have traffic going down Depot Road. It's the adjacent road that goes up, adjacent from Otter River Road, and the trucks go up there. The dust just comes right over those trees. Todd had made suggestion to call him up. I text him all the time, but by the time I text him, he gets out there with a water truck. It's too late. Other places that I know of has NISTA fires around their property, have those water cannons to keep the soil wet. I just think that with that building being right there is gonna increase traffic, increase dust. It's a nuisance. It's a
Noise.
private nuisance is what it's called, because we don't get to enjoy our yard. I can't open up my windows because I have sand on all my tables and all my couches. And this has been going on for 23 years. They've had solutions, yes, call me up when it's bad, but by that time, my whole house is covered. My cars are covered, my backyard's covered. The dust is bad. When they put that building there, it's gonna get worse, because all those trucks are coming in and out, weighing, doing everything else. Take a look at what Depot Road looks like right by where their office is now. It's a dust storm, no matter how many times you put water on there, it's a dust storm. That's what's gonna happen to this area. There's the dust, the noise. 5:30 in the morning, my window's open. I have a day off, I wanna sleep. I hear a backup alarm of a front end loader. Wakes me up every time. What do I gotta do? Shut my windows? I know I have to shut my windows after 8 o'clock because here comes the dust, but at 5:30, I don't wanna shut my windows. I wanna be able to sleep. I brought that towards the Board of Health. They mentioned it to them in November. I was told that they were gonna adjust their time to 7 o'clock. I go to work, I wake up at 4:30. I start hearing it at 5:30 still. I go to work, go by that operation. By 5:45, this truck's already loaded and out on the road. I have pictures of all that if you want to see it. And just the traffic going up and down Otter River Road. These trucks are going up and down Otter River Road. We have a new family that's moved in next to me with a bunch of little kids. I can't imagine those little kids running out into the street and getting hit by a dump truck. And they're not slow. They're not slow. And he says that they're gonna go off to the right all the time. Are they? Because they're not doing it. They didn't do it last Monday. Every time I got up there to take a picture of the truck, it was already gone. But when that happens, who do we call?
When what happens?
When we see trucks going up and down that street fast or whatever, who do we call?
It's a police issue.
Police issue. Okay, so how about the vibration?
Yes.
The vibration of our houses. Okay, now he removed all that tree, all that vegetation. Now it's gonna get worse. He says, yeah, just give me a call. Give me a call when it gets bad. I have a video I can play for you guys of my window vibrating so bad. I could play it for you right now and you'll be able to hear it vibrate. What do? Well, he says, call him up. I call him up. How is it now? Well, it's a little bit better. Okay, well, it happens when it rains out. That's what happens. Well, sorry, but it rains out. That's a thing. Can't avoid that. I mean, something has to be done about the vibration. I fear that it's destroying my property and I can't even watch TV. It is so loud. Did you want me to play you the video?
No,
Listen to it. Listen to it.
There's one video and you don't even have to look at it.
I don't need to see a video. I mean, I know what the operation's like down there, but you gotta keep in mind what you have for the scales, man, nothing to do with the rest of the operation up there.
Well, the
Yes, it
removal
does.
of the vegetation probably is gonna
Yes,
make
it
it
does.
worse. And I fear that, especially the people around
What
that corner.
vegetation are you referring to?
That whole corner is already ripped apart.
It is.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that a couple months ago.
They did it over the winter.
But they're also gonna put a pervious surface in there, so that'll keep down on the dust as far as time. Yeah.
That's the noise.
Listen,
That's what I hear.
we all hear this.
Oh, yeah. So that's my 2 cents. I'm against it and I would like to have somebody that I can call when I have problems.
Well, anything to do with traffic. I mean, no different than I have somebody speeding by on the road, you call police. I mean, you don't know everybody who's driving by your house, but you see crazy stuff on the road, that's actually a policing issue.
There was also a question asked whether or not back in the day, Otter River Road was off limits, and I couldn't find anything that said it was. But I didn't know if any of you maybe remembered anything.
And I don't know, it's a public road, I mean, unless it's been restricted from Otter River Road.
No, they've been restricted. We worked with the neighbors a long time ago. And we made an agreement that we would try to stay off on the road.
Except the local deliveries, of course.
Well, yeah, but even we thought, but you hear when we go up on the road, shouldn't be going that way.
They do.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming up with us.
I think the only reason I would go that way is if there was a local delivery, but.
No,
can certainly talk to everybody again about going up the road they're not supposed to.
Well, and to that extent, I live on Albert Drive, so this
So,
impacts me
whoa, whoa,
probably less than these.
Whoa.
Oops, I'm sorry, sir.
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Rainey Melanson.
Okay.
I live on 13 Albert Drive.
Thank you.
This gentleman very eloquently expressed a lot of my concerns as well. I'm impacted less than probably these folks are on Otter River Road. I am a little distance away. I know my wife constantly complains about the dust that's in our house on Albert Drive. We live on the first house on the right-hand side on Albert Drive. And there's a lot of dust. There are a lot of vehicles that do go up Otter River Road, and some of them turn down Albert Drive as well, but not only are they going up Otter River Road, they're coming down Albert Drive as well. Like I said, I share his concerns, and that was my thought, and I'm glad that some of the Otter River folks took the time to come here tonight to express their concerns. And I understand what he's saying, and I'm in agreement with him.
Mary
Go ahead,
Levine, 440 Otter River Road.
Oh, sorry.
I have a letter that I wrote in 1998, in which I had talked to Lonnie at that time about the cutting of the tree line, and Lonnie had said they would not cut the tree line. If you look up there, there's just a very thin line of trees left. They have built a road up there. In there, it's actually not sand, I don't think. I think they're trucking in rocks and that's creating the dust.
What tree line you're referring to on Otter River Road?
Yes, on Otter River Road, if you go up, they made like a road up there. They had cut quite a few trees down up there. You can,
Well, that was, we used to use Otter River Road, and where the trees are thin, that's from where we used to turn in. That was, we would come up Otter River Road, and then we would turn into the pit up there. So we got the complaints and they didn't like the trucks going up Otter River Road. So we made another road that goes parallel with Otter River Road, and we left all the trees between that road and Otter River Road. Except that it was kind of thin up by across from Albert Drive, because that was an entrance. And we still leave it as an entrance as an emergency or whatever. We go in and out of there once in a while, not very often. And trying to keep the dirt bikes out of there, we have it blocked off. But, so that was kind of the trade-off. My father, that Lawrence was my father. And that was how we tried to work with the neighbors and try to come up with a solution. And it's worked pretty well over the years. We do have ongoing vibration issues that we are trying to address, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. I know Barry is our #1 complainer, or our guy that lets us know what's going on. And I think we have a good relationship. I think it's getting better, the vibration. We continue to try to modify the machine, and and he's right. We figured it out that when it vibrates quite a bit more, like in the springtime when the material is wet, it's heavier and it's harder to feed out. And so we've got a little solution we're working on now, where we take the weight of the material, we support it above it and make it flow in from each side. That seems to be working pretty good. We haven't heard much from them for three weeks, except for today.
Yeah, today I called him, and Todd had mentioned, I thought things were doing good because we haven't heard from you. The reason why you haven't heard from me is because I'm very busy at my hospital and I have to work overtime. And then the other times we try to go out. So we haven't been around in about 3 or 4 weeks. So that's why you haven't heard from us. I was here today. I was here today, got home from work at 3:30 and right away made the phone call for the vibration.
The other thing I'd like to address is the dust in the truck traffic and all that. It's a catch-22. If we water the road, the dirt roads, then we track material out onto the paved roads, and that dries out, and then we have to sweep it. And we did buy a new sweeper this spring. I guess a little spring we bought it, and that's been doing a better job. Now, what we're trying to do is alleviate where we are on Depot Road currently. We have traffic coming in from every angle. The trucks have to cross the road, then they have to back cross the road to get out. People come in and loop around to get on the scale. It's just, we've never had an accident there that I can remember. Not during the day. A few people, well, went off the road at nighttime, but, so what I'm saying is, we're lucky, and we decided that the flow of traffic isn't good. Customers have to wait coming in and going out, we're using one scale. So this whole project came from trying to alleviate that problem and also the dust problem, because the dust up on where the new location is from when the trucks come in currently, and some of it is paved, and then some of it gets mudded up because we are watering the other roads to try to keep it off out of River Road. So then that tracks that out, and that dries out and becomes dusty. So it's when do you water and when do you sweep? So that's what we need to do a better job at. But as far as, go ahead, so.
I simple, now, we were talking about where the operation is currently on Depot Road. Am I understanding this correctly? Are you looking to phase that out because of some of the road conditions and the traffic conditions, and you're gonna move the operation primarily to where you're proposing for? Is that correct?
But it's a lot more organized. We have one scale where we're located now. This way,
I mean, my point was that, so not only are you gonna have vehicles that were going there before, now you're gonna have those vehicles coming over, so there's gonna be considerably more traffic going to this new site that you're proposing.
Yep.
It's not just, you're not just splitting it in half. Basically, you're moving the whole operation to where it is, correct? So, I mean, I wasn't aware of that. Like I said,
But it's going to have the traffic pattern, and it's gonna be a lot more of it's gonna be paved. And we plan on using grindings and other things out into the pit a lot more. So we're trying to eliminate the water allowing to stick to the tires and get onto the pavement, and that's what the problem is. It's when it dries out on the pavement. But we're gonna have to have an ongoing sweeping. And there it'll all be in one area. As it is now, we gotta sweep in the front, we gotta sweep in the back.
I mean, I feel badly for the folks who were on Depot Road but to that extent is that those folks probably bought their house after your operation's been there for a great number of years, so they knew what they were getting into. For these folks over here who lived on Otter River Road, a lot of them have bought houses recently. Now you're just changing their whole dynamics over here. That I don't know how that affects their property value, but now their house is now greatly impacted.
Well, if I try to sell my house, I won't be doing it during the day. I'll probably have to do it during the weekend. So people won't notice that my cabinets are vibrating off. But I don't think the dust situation is settled yet, because I don't see the solution. I mean, you're saying, no, we're not gonna water now, we're gonna sweep. But if you sweep, and when I sweep my driveway, I notice a lot of dust comes up. So more sweeping means more dust.
Yep.
More traffic going in and out of that area means more dust.
Our new sweeper does have a water system on it, so that is one good thing. So it does.
I mean, you did used to have a water truck that you used to drive up and down instead of, I don't know what you use now, a front end loader or, but, I mean, is it, and I read there's some kind of chemical you can put down on the road that would cut down the dust. I mean, if you did it more every hour instead of whenever somebody calls, I mean.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you might have dropped your wallet.
Oh, no, I put it down.
Okay, I just didn't want you to forget about it.
Thanks.
You brought
I didn't have it.
I think Barry, you mentioned us starting at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Time do you come? It's 5:30. Yeah, so that's when he's coming in. He's got to get his machine going, and he's got to organize what's going to happen for the day. And so, like,
Yeah, we've been loading trucks at 5:45.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
so you don't want to get in the scale.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Todd doesn't have a desk job.
No, it's in the windows, only the heavy girls in the office.
Good. Is there any way that more paving would help alleviate some of, more paving?
Well, so we are
I'm
proposing.
not really necessarily in favor of that.
So we are proposing everything that's currently gravel out there is going to be paved. So by default, that should cut down on the dust in entering and exit. I can't speak for the whole pit,
What's that create?
but right now, where they come in and out is all gravel. And this is all gonna be paved. And that's why that's why the stormwater is as big as it is, then that's why we designed that to.
Of course, that affects runoff too. though. So it's-
Correct, and that's why we've had to, yeah, it's a balancing act, right? So we've had to make our stormwater bigger on the edge, and we've had to infiltrate some more around the building, but we're eliminating that dust component from this specific area right here. So yeah, there may be more trucks, but there's a whole lot less dirt they're driving.
Do you think that might help your situation? or-
Well, I don't know. It's one of those things you have to wait until it happens, and then when it doesn't happen, then you gotta deal with it. All I know is right now I can't open up my windows.
Yeah.
That's pretty pathetic.
You can, when you have to sleep. but
Yeah, well,
Not sweet, it's not good for you.
no, no.
I know from a safety issue, this is definitely a better setup than the one he currently has now, because the fact that the trucks are always fighting to get on scales from two different directions. There's only one scale. I understand your concerns in the back. I mean, I've heard it before, it's something to me, I've heard it for the last 30 years, as long as they've been, active in town politics, what have you. And I don't know how long Woody grandfather started, 80 years ago, long time ago.
53 around there, I guess.
Was that
There's been a lot of expansion.
53?
Yes, it's been a
So,
lot.
it's been a long time, so, I'm sure a lot of complaints, but right now, tonight, the only thing we actually have at hand is the actual scale house itself. As far as, excuse me, the selectmen, board of health, whatnot, they're the ones that oversee gravel operations, so on and so forth. And dust complaints, planning doesn't have any. We have, right now, we're just here to vote on what's on the plan, not what proceeds it after. I mean, which is, I know for a fact has been going on, and but I also know the crushing plants have been up on top of the hill for 30, 40 years as well.
No, it has
So-
not.
Okay.
It
How long?
hasn't been there. I'd say about 25.
Okay,
I've been there for 50 years,
50?
50.
Okay.
I've been there the longest on Otter River Road.
You're
All
still
this
with
stuff
us?
is all, well, I've lived out here, yes. It wasn't so bad before. And Mr. Fletcher's been over my house many, many times. So I live right on Otter River Road, 2 houses from there.
Good.
I've called there myself. I can't tell you how many times recently because of the vibration. Oh, I'll tell them. They stop for about 2 seconds and it comes back again. It's a waste of time.
It's
And I
hard.
know the vibration, but also when that rock crusher was put in, we never had a discussion like this. I never heard of any discussion. All of a sudden, my house was vibrating. Didn't know why. I found out.
It's
Now that's been
it's
about,
tough mixing commercial industrial with residential. I mean, it's,
well, they should have thought of that when they sold the houses on Otter River Road 50 years ago when they built them. Why were they gonna do this?
That land never belonged to us. We didn't sell that land.
Well, the town did. They must have known it was across the street from the
All they had to
sandbank.
do was look, but.
yeah, so, but that's,
They didn't rock crush then at all. When I moved there, no rock crush.
Increasingly more
okay.
lately.
The, like I said, tonight, we're only here to review and vote on the plan at hand. I have no control over the dust or the crusher up on top of the hill.
So
I
who
know-
does? So who do we talk to?
I don't know, if I don't know, it's not the planning board. It's just not this board. I don't know what the policing issue would be on that. But I do think, Todd, Jim, you guys amenable to taking that visual tree line out of there in the front and maybe just doing it with a lower landscape from a car standpoint?
No problem.
Okay.
Would we have to have a peer review on this one?
It's all sand, gravel.
I mean,
There's
yeah,
no-
I'm
there's
thinking not a whole lot to worry about, but I just.
It's such a
It
small
wasn't
area.
even 2 minute per.
No, I'm saying, I
I do have a question though.
Go ahead.
Is there any way to beef up the vegetation on the Otter River Road side? Arborvitae's,
Build a wall,
something that will,
a big high, like they build a wall on.
How high is high
Where
enough?
that house was, that they tore down, didn't work.
Is there any berm or anything after the trees on that? Or no?
There's actually.
Can you see through the trees, like through the utter road?
Yes, you
There is
can
a
see
berm
through the
about what,
trees.
6 feet tall, 5 to 6
You can see through the trees, I see the trucks going up and down all the
It's
time.
supposed to be, that's like 5, 6 feet tall, and then there's trees growing up on both sides.
But once again, that's gonna be a part of Jim working with the neighbors as far as on the upper side, because you're talking.
I
we're talking about two
truly,
different things right now.
yeah, I
Question
truly
out
think
there.
your dust situation is going to get better with this being, we have a lot more. If we ripped up Cumbies and driving to Cumbies, it's gonna be all dust everywhere.
Right. Well, we definitely cut down dust as far as down below, that's for sure.
Again, you're right, we're not, I mean,
Well, I know I'm gonna ask you, how many trucks been staged in front of the scale coming in?
so we did 2. So you have 1 on the scale and 2
Two behind,
behind it. Off completely.
and it's still drive around the scale as well.
Correct, yeah, so we have it 24 feet on each, actually there's 40 feet on the outbound side.
Yeah.
There's 24 feet between the scale and the parking, so
Okay,
that way vehicles could bypass them if necessary.
and that's just for office personnel anyways, the parking, right?
Yeah.
Visitors,
Office. and-
contractor pulls and some pricing.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Concerns with the plan? I like the idea of good sight lines, but I just got a little stand-up island in front of it. I think we need to see, let the cars come on the corner, see all the truck,
I mean,
just
if
with low vegetation.
if you approved it, a condition of.
Yeah.
Low bushes out. that would definitely-
Is there any other concerns that sticks out, anybody's? Dennis? You don't like that, you're cutting a tree down, we're gonna replace it.
Yeah, I know. If we can have some assurances that take care of the vegetation and make sure, add
A
any
little green
additional,
space in the front will look good anyways.
Hmm.
So under the dust as well
you know,
in the front, so gonna have town water there, right, talking water. Yeah. So,
I mean, one thing that, you know, from what I'm understanding here, and I understand your point of view, you guys are the planning board, you're not the Board of Health. The issues that are being brought up here are a lot of health issues, I guess. So, you know, these gentlemen seem to have done a good job on the planning. I don't have an issue with the planning, but once this is approved, you know, what's gonna be their recourse for these folks or for anybody? They'll, you know, we can promise anything today, planning board wise, but I mean, if the health issues, you know, become unbearable, what recourse, you know, it's gonna be there and they will have no recourse at that time.
well, number one, I don't hold anybody hostage over a department, it's not mine. Okay?
Right, yeah,
I don't play
No.
games like that.
yeah, no, I understand.
But I don't think you do, that's what I'm telling you. Okay, we don't hold anybody hostage, if he's in for one thing, if you have another issue, it doesn't pertain to this department, I'm not gonna make believe it does.
Right.
Okay, and from a health and safety standpoint, I know what we have right now, somebody's got a better survival rate of coming on and off that scale and getting out of there than they do right now with the existing scale is right now, which is too close to the road and trucks all over the place. And like Jim had said, they're always doing U-E's right in the middle of traffic, it's a matter of, no matter if it's when somebody would actually get a wreck down there. Fortunate enough, it's daytime when they operate and the cars can see the trucks crossing the road, but we're trying to alleviate that. So just, not saying be careful what you say, but just be careful who you accuse, okay?
No,
You just
no,
got-
I
this is
understand, like I
the
said,
place-
you are the planning
There's a-
board, and
right.
you're doing what you need to do, you're not the
So
Board
right
of
now,
Health,
I'm
and I
planning on
understand
making
that.
the scale house, helping Mr. Fletcher make the scale house a safer place to do business, having two-way traffic, having better visibility, and have a place for the trucks to get off the road. That's really the only thing we're here for tonight.
Right.
The crushing plant and the dust up on the top of the hill, which has been going on for 50 years, is not the planning board's, we have no say in
I
that.
understand that.
Lori, you got something else?
sure. So Mr. Jansen's has contacted me several times, and I have been out to see Mr. Fletcher several times. And I was told that things were being worked on, getting better. I hear from Barry, I've had a couple of anonymous calls through my administrative assistants. I haven't heard from anybody else.
I called often. But I just talked to the lady at the,
And they tell me, but I don't have a number or a name to get in touch with.
they don't ask, I just say that, I tell them who I am and I say,
My house is vibrating so bad. right
Okay,
now.
so they always give me the names and numbers of people who call. I have never received or heard your name before.
Wow.
I've heard anonymous and no phone numbers. Barry, I always have Barry's number. So I'm not sure what's going on and
I
I'll
think
find out
everybody's got Barry's
tomorrow.
number from the sounds of it.
Huh?
I think everybody's got Barry's number from the sounds of it.
Well, no,
Because I just had enough of it. You know, I can't even live at my house.
and
I enjoy it.
I've been at Barry's house. So, I mean. But call me. I'm in the office
What
next
is
door.
your name?
Lori Weta.
Where?
I'm in the Board of Health. I run
Board of
development
Health, okay.
services, okay?
I was working with Mr. Fletcher. I was trying to work with him by calling his helpers to have him done. I
Right,
didn't want to go over his head and do all this,
right.
but it's. not
And I
working.
understand that. I'm just saying that in my estimation, Mr. Jansen's was standing alone at one point. Until this came up, and then I heard from a couple people came in and looked at the plans. Nobody said anything bad. They just looked at the plans. So this is good for me to hear more. And I don't have a problem going out to the rock crusher. I've been out there a couple times. So, I mean, call me.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I don't want you to think that we're slighting your concerns, I'm not. But we're only here, we only have so much jurisdiction. And the jurisdiction we have tonight is putting in a building with the proper stormwater management, good sight lines for the traffic coming in and out, when as you tell, I want to do a little bit more, because I'm always, I don't put myself in the seat of the consumer, and I'm driving around the corner, even though I drive truck too, have in the past, but I'm coming around with my car, or my kids come around the car, I want to make sure they can see the whole truck, not just a nose sticking out. And the driver's just waiting to slip the clutch and get out in front of somebody, so that's what we do for that.
I understand what your job is as the planning board.
Okay.
The reason why I'm here is because what you guys decide
Yeah.
on this will affect the dust and the noise and everything else. That's why, I understand the planning board doesn't do anything about the dust or the, but it does affect what you guys decide tonight. So that's why I figured I'd come in, tell you my complaints and my
No,
issues. That way,
That's why it's a public meeting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Any other? people from the board? Anybody else last minute in the audience and myself?
If you have more than 2 vehicles waiting to come onto the scale, do they go around the scale or are they gonna be out on Depot Road?
So the scale coming in off of Depot Road is an inbound scale,
Yes,
and the trucks are gonna flow right over that. They're not gonna stop. They're gonna pull on the scale, stop and go.
okay,
all
so
the
there's
trucks
not
that
gonna
get
be a
weighed and
backup
come-
of traffic?
No, they're not waiting for slips. They're coming in just to wait and
coming
get
in.
inside.
They get away and they go. All the trucks that get loaded to go out with material will be coming the other way, and those trucks will line up in the pit.
No, in the, okay.
Anything else? Seeing none, let's take a motion. One way or the other. Somebody speak.
Yeah, sure. I make a motion, we accept the plans that submitted with the modifications that you had mentioned for the site.
I will second it.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any other discussions for the board? Seeing none, all in favor?
I'm gonna abstain just because I just walked in, so I didn't have a
Okay.
chance to look at it.
So, what's up? Okay. 401. You're all set. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you for coming. Just want you to know, I have open door policy off the office. Laurie, I work with them. And
You know a good housekeeper?
I know a good housekeeper. I can send my wife over.
Oh, okay, well, there's my air
Time is
conditioning.
4:05.
That should
I
be
don't know how
there.
good she is.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the, I think we're gonna get as far as we're gonna get with members of the board. We're waiting for as many members as possible. So can we organize next week with them? So just do it with them. Just keep it the same. Was it me and you?
I know this was,
Bruce the clerk. We'll keep the same, just make them, oh, wait for it. Yeah. There's a hanging out here. Just want to the A&R. Do I see the A&R yet? You see the A&R? You got it?
yeah. Whereabouts is 473? How far?
Right
It's the old
across from this.
wood factory. We're right across the street from it.
Hey, Davis,
Oh, okay.
sawmill. You own the original Davis home on the corner, right?
Yes.
Okay. Don't ask me how I know that, right? I'll look at it.
Yeah, so that outlet fee is currently like part of our yard that I maintain, so we're just proposing to make it up.
Your Beth and Dave.
Yes.
It's owned by, okay,
What are
so,
we doing?
okay, the high school's over here.
Yeah.
There's Balls Road. There's Eddie Davis' old
That's-
homestead, which is theirs now.
That's the old
Look at
house.
this, look at this.
Yeah.
And this is Ed Davis' sawmill.
Right.
Like, he's cutting this piece of land off to go with their homestead to give them a little bit more land they've been taking care of.
Okay.
anyways. So it's
All right.
just as an outlook to sidewalk that has frontage on it too, so. And it's gonna be conveyed in terms of the one lot, I take it, or is it
Yeah, it's gonna get merged into our.
merged to one lot, right?
I'm sorry, Mr. Zoc couldn't be here because he had another
Fine.
meeting.
This is pretty.
They're pretty self-explanatory.
It's super simple.
Yeah,
I just,
we're good.
but I did notice that we're not creating a new lot.
They're
We're
not,
not.
they're combining it,
So we had 2 lots and we're ending with 2 lots, right?
not any one.
They're combining.
Their
It's a
homestead, no,
piece,
their
correct?
homestead
It's
over
not
there,
the whole
and this piece right here.
But this piece of that was part of this.
Originally, the original line's right there,
Yeah.
and sold that house years ago.
Yeah.
He still owns this, now he's cutting this little piece off to go to that. to the original.
Right, no, I understand that, but we're not creating another
No.
lot. So I just
Correct.
don't know if they should have been charged 300.
I didn't charge him, or did I?
I think there's a check there.
What's there?
I think there was a check someplace.
Just trying to
Yeah.
save them 300.
$300. check.
Okay, I'm sorry, that needs to go back to them.
She's always doing that.
You're always taking people's money.
Yeah, it was a check.
Sometimes if they hand me a check, I naturally write it down and record it.
She used to charge us to be
So
on the board.
sorry.
Only because they're ending up with 2 lots and they started with 2.
Yeah, but it's Brian's check, you'll never know. Just kidding. Trust me.
I'm sure they paid for it.
It's coming out of our pockets.
I'm sure it
Sure
is.
it is.
So, all right.
I did provide you guys.
Let's go on the checklist,
Okay. 4 copies of plan.
Yep.
Identification of the plan by name of owner.
Yep.
Statement of approval under subdivision control law, not required.
Yep.
Zoning classification.
You should have it too, right? Yeah. That one or two, that's two. No, that's no commercial industrial. Yes, I think it was all commercial industrial.
Changed to commercial.
It's on there, right? Oh, we're zoning, yep, zoning, commercial industrial, yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah,
Um,
zoning district.
Yep.
In case of creation of new lot, not applicable. Notice any decisions of zoning board of appeals, not applicable. Name of the butters.
Yep.
Distance to nearest permanent monument,
Plug in.
location of all existing buildings,
Mhm.
location of any easement or way, no.
Not a problem.
We have 4 copies of Form A, 4 copies of A and R. Description of lots, I'm gonna waive the $300 fee. All lots, but a qualified way,
Balls are up.
and Brooks Road. All lots have adequate frontage. Vital access exists to each lot.
Yep.
And all lots have adequate acreage.
Yep.
Perfect. All set.
Motion to accept it as submitted.
I second that.
All right, motion made in second, is, check the plan is submitted. All in favor? All right. Unanimous. Just sign away. I started one. Also, order.
We got to us mine.
That's the endorsement form. If you want to sign that. I already dated it for you.
I'm just looking. Can we reorganize another time, or do we just vote it now? I'm just kind of figuring we are.
We voted, we only got 2 missing rights.
Oh, yeah.
Just motion of John, just voted it out.
I make a motion that we keep the assignments as
Which is allowed.
it is
Chairman,
Chairman,
Mr.
Mr.
Machete,
Machete, Vice President, Mr. Carroll, and Secretary, Mr. Clerk.
Clerk. Clerk. Okay. And who was the clerk?
We don't have enough money for a treasurer.
Treasurer?
Mr.
Did I say treasurer?
No, it's the secretary who's the clerk. It's, Bruce.
Another plan.
I need one more.
Is there another plan in that packet?
Oh, it's down here. I'm sorry. I didn't know who was coming, so I spread things out. Thank you.
Yeah, that's sorry.
I'll let you unfold it.
Anybody done?
Second, I'll second your motion.
No, okay. Frank, Dennis, any discussion?
So you shame Ed into selling you that land, so you're already mowing his lawn?
He felt pity when he saw me.
Oh, that's what it was.
All right, Mr. Machete, Kirk,
Yes.
you had a first, you had a second on reorganization.
Oh,
You didn't have any discussion.
any discussion on that, on keeping it the same?
We can keep it.
Yeah.
I,
We do that?
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
I,
Yes. Charlie went a long time ago, when it's reorganization time, he gets to the
how
meeting,
old is your
we
house?
sign him up for everything he wasn't here for.
Exactly.
1790, I think.
What?
It's either 1760 or 1790.
Yeah, it's one of the older ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have, there are some papers that they had in a drawer that
So this goes
kind
to
of
the
go back
registry
and
of
list
deeds.
all the
So if you want to sign right
landowners.
Oh,
Really?
Wow, that's interesting, that's really good.
Yeah. I can remember as a kid, that was one of the few houses
I
on that
remodeled it.
road.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And he owned it for quite some time, didn't he? Yeah, did Mr. Davis himself, he owned it for quite some time, didn't he?
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
school with his kids.
They were the ones
So-
who added the addition onto the house
Okay.
back in the 50s.
Thank you, Frank.
Right on the line.
Right on the one. Dennis, this is the signature card that goes to the registry of deeds, so if you could sign right next to your name, please.
Shrunk wrap and put 2 newspapers.
Sure you sign the right line.
Picture when I put it in 1994.
My text the other day,
Huh?
my text the other day.
I
I
like
was
that.
sitting there.
Yeah,
I was sitting
yeah.
there.
I was in Templeton, cooking away. Ugh.
None of these people here.
I'm up for file that, so some
Somebody supposed to
copy,
come
I'll
in.
be the first one to figure
I
it
make
out.
a motion, we adjourn.
And is there anything else?
You did the
They can be
minutes.
signed.
Guess we just have to sign, that's all right. We can.
Let me make my way down the line to you guys.
Do we not adjourn while we're doing it?
No, you can adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Good. Second.
Motion adjourned on the table, second. Discussion on that, anybody have any new business for us? That's good then. You all set? Okay, motion adjourned. All in favor? All right, we're adjourned.